did his part here for this team match today. Ryung can't be too beaten up. That's a pretty colorful keyboard, by the way. Can't be too beaten up by those results.
Yeah.
Let's see, though. We're not going to go on to the stats match.
No, we're going to a stats match, rather. Yes, we are. So stats against, if I look at my sheet here.
I think it's Blaze.
Blaze, yeah.
Stats versus Blaze.
Blaze reminds me a lot like Billowy, a lot like Super. He's one of those Protosses that hasn't hit their stride, and honestly, I don't think we'll ever see them hit that level.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, he's like your classic B teamer, right? He's definitely good enough for the pros to train with and help them win games, but he's the like the beta on the team essentially. He's like the weaker link out of the other players, and can he beat Stats? Look, I think anything can happen after the results we've had so far today. If you're just now joining us, it is MVP against KT 2-1 right now. MVP shockingly winning its first 2 games.
Yeah. I don't think Blaze is one of those players that you would expect to win a major league, and I don't think in our lifetime we ever will. But
no, yeah, I think you're correct. Yeah,
in his pro league, though, we might see some sort of crazy build from Blaze because he knows he's the underdog against Stats. But Stats has been impressing so far in Legacy of the Void. He did very well in the SSL, and I have to give it to Stats, though, considering what we have.
mean, it's kind of a weird situation because I'm not even sure how much Stats really believed he was going to be playing today, right? This was supposed to be a 3-0. That's basically what everybody predicted, but you come in here now, and we're already in game 4. Stats against Blaze. Blaze might have an ace up his sleeve, and even if he doesn't, we go on to the ace match. So things still looking not bad right now for MVP.
And we've seen so far, especially that Zest versus Departure match, one false move could lose you the game, and Stats could screw up. We don't know. We had to wait and see. I mean, Blaze isn't one of those players where if his opposing player screws up, he's not going to capitalize on it. He's going to pounce on that opportunity. And we see here the stats. I mean, Stats 5-5, Blaze 3-7 so far in the past 10 games, and yeah.
But I mean, Blaze can pull this off, okay?
I mean, yeah, it's like that Departure Zest match. I mean, we can't count Blaze out here. It's not like it's a 100% sure win for Stats.
All right, as you can see here, everybody predicting Stats should move on. But hey, a lot of us have been wrong here today at the Pro League 2016. Upsets happen. Stats has trained hard for this, but so has Blaze. So let's see what kind of game they bring us. In the upper left is Blaze. And in the upper right is Stats.
Horizontal spawns for both players here on Ruins of Seras, and I just have to hop back to Classic vs. Patience from last week. We saw that crazy Game 5 there where Patience actually going for that proxy robo play with the Immortal and managed to do a lot of damage to Classic and eventually eliminating him from the SSL. And
in 2 games even,
And he was behind 2-0, and then he came back and managed to take that series out. And if we see a similar play here from Blaze in this match with that proxy robo, I would not be surprised at all.
It is like a really good build you can do to kind of outmaneuver having to play late game PvP. Sometimes that's the best way to win, is when you say, all right, I can't beat this guy in a normal game. Or I don't feel confident, or I feel more confident trying to end this quickly. That can be the way to do it. By the way, both of them going for powering up gates, getting gases, and getting a cybernetics core shortly after the first gate finishes.
Yeah, so it looks like both players do want to get those gateways up really quickly, try and get those units out as quickly as possible. The question is whether they want to go for Stalkers or whether they want to go for Adepts. As we see here, nothing crazy so far from both players.
Yeah, now when they're both doing the same builds like this so far, it gets pretty interesting to see where the deviation actually occurs. A lot of times builds like this are engineered to put pressure on your opponent as they're expanding. But when you're both doing the same thing, then what happens? Do you just immediately make a Nexus after this? Do you try to keep any little bit of pressure on in the hopes that they can't do it? We're going to learn here.
Looks like, okay, so we see our first minor deviation though. There, Blaze going for that Mothership core. And we see Stats here going for the 2 Stalkers and that Chrono-boosted War Prism. And actually we see double Adept here from Blaze. So
okay, so yeah, that's what I was wondering is where is the deviation if they both did pressure builds, right?
Yeah.
Because if you're both doing pressure builds, then you're kind of not pressuring each other at all, right? You're just staying even. And so occasionally we see these builds then deviate and go into different directions, and that's what we have here. Stalkers to open with a later Mothership Core, and over here for Blaze, Mothership Core with later Adepts to come out.
Yeah, so looks like Blaze going to try and scout out this probe, doesn't find anything at all, so cancels those shades. And in a straight-up fight, though, 2 Stalkers beat 2 Adepts.
Yeah, Adepts wish they could beat Stalkers.
Yeah.
So
and looks like Stats is privy to this. He's got that probe there at the Watchtower. And, well, actually, no. I thought Stats might try and take out the straight fight against those Adepts, but looks like, oh, tries to snipe that probe.
You got to be careful because the Stalkers actually walk faster than the Adepts.
He's going to snipe this Adept, though, which is a good win for Stats.
For sure he will. Nice little victory there. Ideally, he wants to get over there outside of the base with the Adepts to have the option to put on some pressure. Now we have the later Nexus coming here from Blaze, whereas Stats, already with the Nexus making, is now getting a robotics facility.
Yeah, so we'll see what he decides to do with a robotics facility, whether he'll immediately pump Immortals or whether he'll go straight to the Disruptor Tech. And we see here another deviation in this matchup is that Blaze is going for those Stargates. No doubt they'll probably be for Phoenixes because the Adept Phoenix, most matchups, is a pretty good composition to have.
Okay, Adepts coming forward. Now he's probably going to try to shade by these Stalkers. Or he may, in fact, even try to shade on top of these Stalkers since the Adept number is superior. And he's trying to get surrounded.
Oh, nice round there. Actually, managed to squeeze out. Where's the Mothership Core's cast the Pylon Overcharge? I don't see it anywhere.
There it is.
There it is, but Blaze is doing a nice job out multitasking Stats here. Oh, I thought he cast the Pylon Overcharge there at that Pylon.
I think he's trying to be as cautious as possible. He doesn't want to overdo it because, any good player wants you to do it, then you run away, and then they can attack in later. There's also Oracles coming up as well.
Oh, I wonder if this Phoenix here, the hallucinated Phoenix of Stats, is going to live long enough to see that Oracle come out. There's another shade here from Blaze. And, oh, nice force field there, but it looks like it's going to shade into the main of Stats.
Kind of odd there. He didn't quite go for the workers.
Nice Pylon Overcharge as well, doing some damage onto those Adepts, but it looks like it's going to be able to shade away with minimal loss.
He's actually not even going to shade away. I think this might be a little bit questionable. I think he probably should have just shaded over to the steps there.
Yeah, I mean, he loses another Adept, actually, and at this early stage of the game, that adds up.
Yeah, it does. What? Okay, that was a misclick. So he does shade one of those up in here.
Note that Blaze is actually going for +1 air weapon, so it definitely suggests that he wants to work off using these Phoenixes to control the air, use them to lift up units, and to do damage.
Okay, we have Phoenixes being pulled over here. I think what you said was very true, though. Blaze is losing Adepts in this process. And, yeah, Stats is kind of getting into position to have a better push potential later on. But again, the build, the directions are totally different. We have double Stargate here coming out. This Oracle does come, but it's basically too late for Oracle Harass. Once he saw the Stalkers being massed up over here, he can really only use this to try to tag the army to keep track of where it's moving around.
I'm really curious the reasoning behind this +1 air weapons. Maybe Blaze is looking to do some sort of timing attack once that +1 weapons hits.
I think what he wants to do is pick up half of the army, or at least enough of the army, when the big battle actually happens, and kill the Stalkers in the air, and win with his Immortals and his, it's kind of a feeble ground army to some extent, but if he's isolated most of Stats' army into the air, then he's okay.
As we see here, the Phoenixes of Blaze scooting across the map right now. We'll see how much damage these can do, as that air weapon upgrade is actually nearly done, so these Phoenixes will do a lot more damage than they would if they were unupgraded.
Yeah, and he can start to shave off these these Stalkers pretty easily. So getting out there unscathed. Stalkers continue to warp in. May edge around here now.
I thought he might try and pick off their Immortal, but...
Yeah, I think there's too many Stalkers on the low ground to make that viable.
See another tag here from Blaze. A lot of...
Now,
yep.
No, please, go ahead.
Yeah, note that Blaze actually kept that Oracle alive, which means that he can just keep tagging over again of the army of Stats. And having that knowledge where the army of Stats is going, it means that he can position his own army quite well, and seeing the army of Stats means that he's confident that with these Phoenixes, with the ground army that he has, he can defend from any attack that Stats decides to do, and he takes a third base behind this.
Okay, this is a pretty smart way that Blaze is playing. I really like this. Like you were saying, if he sees the army and tags it, then what he does is he just flies in with the Phoenixes and kills everything. And this kind of keeps Protoss, Stats in this case, a little bit more honest. Now, Stats' response to this is to send DTs and warp them into the main. We see the Warp Prism now looping around. Let's actually see if he goes down by the bottom watchtower, because there is something there to spot for this.
I think Stats is waypointed that, as we see the Oracle Gen taking out their nice win there. But back to my point before, you see Stats is waypointed his Warp Prism to purposely avoid that watchtower, and you can see that it's just scooting around that watchtower, which means that Blaze is not privy to this Warp Prism being flown around the map.
Yeah, he may not be ready for this at all. And does he have any detection at all?
He has
an observer. Okay, there it is.
Okay, so
I was going to say, if these observers get split up, it's going to be seriously problematic.
Yeah.
Supplies right now, it is the lead for Stats.
But you have to remember, Blaze did take that earlier third base, so if Stats gives Blaze enough time to get the third base up and running, he could just outproduce Stats in this situation. As we see here, Temple Archive is actually being added for Stats, and let's see how much damage this DT drop does.
Okay, he's going to split these up. All right, we see that one observer is going to spot for these DTs over here. He should be able to kill this DT off with just a handful of losses. Meanwhile, more DTs over here. Blaze, suddenly under attack, has to come back here with his Phoenixes.
And he actually gets that DT out of the third base, doing his damage, taking out all those probes, and these are a lot of probes being killed by Stats here.
Now, he can get this Warp Prism with Phoenixes, I would imagine.
Yeah. Well,
wait. No, well, he's not going to send the Phoenixes over there. So
we might just see a counterattack here.
Yeah, let's see how this actually goes. He is also aware that those DTs, that was a lot of money spent, so he wants to back up here. But the Mass Adept, and I think, is there an Immortal with that? No. All right, so he's going to come up here now, picking up those Immortals. That's very important to do. The Immortals can actually be picked off here by those Phoenixes, continuing to spill forward now.
Oh, these Stalkers of Stats actually doing a nice job microwing away from those Adepts, and these Phoenixes can't really get those lifts up to do that damage that Blaze wants to do here, and these Dark Templars, 36 probes killed here, and I think Stats has got to defend this.
Yeah, he never actually took out that Immortal in the back, by the way. He's picking up too much here. I think the ground army might be just too small. It's kind of hard to say. You know, you want to have just enough picking up. There it is. You want to have just enough picking up there that you are still doing damage to it. That's why he got that air attack upgrade, and it kind of seemed to me like he never really had enough of everything he was trying to go for. Blaze, I thought he did a good job, but Stats just handled it much better.
Yeah, Stats handled it quite well. He also noted that all the gas was being invested into Phoenixes, and as a result, he saw that Dark Templars would be a good choice.
Okay, so... sorry.
Those Dark Templars did a lot of damage. But now we see our ace match here, Arena, so we could see some crazy things happen.
Well, it looks like KT has managed to cement a possible comeback. It's all going to come down to one game.
Do you think we're going to see in the ace match? I think we're definitely going to see TY.
I think no matter what, TY, especially after Zest's weird game, like seriously weird game. I'd say no matter what, TY. Now, how do you counter TY is the question.
I would say maybe Gumiho.
Gumiho?
He has the momentum on his side for winning his game, but like in a straight-up game, I think Gumiho would just get wrecked by TY.
Well, do you bring out Departure? Departure's still one of those players.
Departure's good, but I feel like TVZ on Arena would just completely wreck Departure.
Yeah, that's actually true. Terran seemed to be strong against Zerg on Arena. I mean, do you have one player that has an all-in strat against Terran? Because I think you got a blind pick against Terran. Now, granted, they could throw Zest out and really throw him off, but I just can't imagine, it not being. I can't imagine it not being TY.
Yeah, I think a wild card could be Seed. We've seen Seed in the past for Pro League.
Yeah, that's true.
A sniper for the ace match. We'll just have to wait and see what both coaches, HOT Forever, KT, and Troy decide in this situation.
A lot of pressure here. I mean, if MVP wins this is like a huge upset.
Yep, so we just have to wait and see what both players decide to pick here.
All right, guys, get ready. We are about to decide the final best of one for tonight's Pro League. And again, a lot is riding on this.
The lights are dimmed here at the studio. It feels like there's a power outage right now. As, yeah, I'm thinking TY for KT and Seed for MVP.
Okay, who's it gonna be?
Gumiho against Zest.
Gumiho against Zest. You know what? I think Gumiho could take this.
Yeah,
I think Zest is supposed to take this just based off stats, but statistics, not talking about the player stats, but I don't know, man. This is going to be an exciting final game. Zest now has his chance to redeem himself.
Yeah, I mean, we've seen in the past a lot of players redeem themselves, but
we're going to go to a 5-minute break, excuse me. When we come back, our final match. Stay tuned.